Now, when you're deciding to run for president, obviously there's a lot of controversy between some of your family not supporting what you're doing because it hurts the Democratic Party. But when you're choosing who's going to run your campaign, was she the easy choice? Where a lot of people kind of come out of the woodwork they were also supporting?
It was an impossible choice because there was no Democratic and no Republican consulting firm. Usually you go out and hire one of these consultants who's run, campaigns like David Axelrod has a firm, and that's all it does. So you go and contract with one of these firms, and there's firms that are Democratic and there's firms that are Republican, and they usually don't, they don't cross the line.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked at all the Democratic firms, and none of them would work for us. Because if they did, they'd get blackballed by the party.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have union contracts, and they'd lose all their contracts. So anybody with experience was not going to work for us. I got Dennis Kucinich, who had run for president twice, to run my campaign initially. But then Amaryllis, who had really, really encouraged me to run from the outset, started taking larger and larger responsibilities, and it became clear how talented she was, and in every way. So, and running a campaign like this is what we have to do, where we have to get 2 million signatures, get on the ballot in every state. And the system was created to be insurmountable so that nobody could ever do it. The rules were written by the Republican and Democratic Party to make sure they didn't have any competition.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in the state of Maine, we have to go and get signatures in every town. There's 400 towns, and then you have to get those certified by the town clerk. So you need just an army of people, and you have a short period of time span to do that. Every state is different. In New York, you have 45 days to get, I think, 113,000 signatures. And in Texas, we had to get 130,000 in 40 days. We ended up getting 250,000. So we have a volunteer army. We have 50,000 people who we've deployed now. But Amaryllis is controlling all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a monumental logistical accomplishment.
Forgive me I just kind of followed the X timeline. But obviously you've gotten a lot of these signatures, but then you'll see things where people are like, oh, they're not verified signatures or they're not counting. Like the DNC,
what we did, because they're going to challenge every signature. So we got double to triple the number of signatures we need. And, some of them are volunteer gathered, but some of them we pay people to do for us, and they are responsible for validating them. And we have they have contractual obligations to make sure they're validated. The DNC is going to challenge us in every state. So they're going to sue us, and they're going to say that, they're going to find some problem. But so far, we've won every lawsuit, and I'm very confident that we will win every lawsuit. We were very, very careful. And so I am dead sure that we will be on the ballot in every state by end of August.
Mm-hmm. Was there ever a point for you gathering these signatures where you thought, man, I don't know if we're going to get this state, or that? Or were you pretty confident the entire time? You sound confident now, but was there ever a point?
I'm confident now. There were people who were telling us there was a couple of consultants, and it's a crazy industry, and that there's a whole cottage industry for ballot harvesting, and a lot of it is predatory and unscrupulous, and there's all kinds of dirty tricks that they do. For example, they can get people to sabotage you. They'll get guys out in front of a Safeway or Piggly Wiggly or whatever, collecting signatures all day from customers, and one guy will wait till he's got a full page and then pretend to sign a signature, but he'll draw a line through the whole page, and that invalidates every signature. Mm. Oh, there's all kinds of little ways and big ways of attacking attacking our efforts, and all of those things have been done to us. But there were people from the beginning who said to us, "We can do this." And I didn't know whether to believe it or not, because you're meeting these people for the first time and you have no idea. But we ended up choosing the right people, and I think we're going to get it done.
Why do they make it so difficult? You think like it wouldn't be difficult for yourself, like being a Kennedy? Like, why does the DNC challenge everything? Like, why has it been such a difficult path?
I mean, the DNC didn't want me. I originally ran as a Democrat.
Right.
I was born in the Democratic Party. My family has been Democratic office holders since the 1890s. My great grandfather, Honey Fitz, was the first Irish Catholic mayor of Boston, and my other great grandfather, Patrick Kennedy, was a political boss and a state senator in Massachusetts, and so my family was raised in the Democratic Party, and I could never imagine that I would ever leave the Democratic Party. But I felt like the Democratic Party left me, and when I tried to run, they passed all of these rules to make sure that I could not win. So, for example, I was campaigning very, very heavily in New Hampshire, and I was doing well, and the Democratic Party passed a rule that any candidate that steps foot into the state of New Hampshire, which I had already done, that all of their votes would count for President Biden. So that's one of the 60 things that they did to make sure that I could not, no matter what happened, I could not win the nomination. And it was not, it wasn't democratic. Democrats are so terrified of Donald Trump that they kind of have tunnel vision, and they ignore a lot of the kind of anything that is done to make sure that Donald Trump is not president is okay. And I think that they've departed from a lot of the values that made that party so attractive to me growing up.
If you were